Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we are going to be looking at the full set of Halo Infinite Series 3 blind bags. Before we get started, if you hear a little more background noise than usual, that's because it's raining. So we're just gonna pretend it's not raining for now. So I have all of Infinite Series 3 in front of me. I did a video opening this set, and in that video I said it took me way too long to find these, and in the end I just had to go and look on Mercari and buy a full set from there, which meant spending more than I would have liked. But you know, store stocking for a while near me was great, and then it just kind of stopped, and I was left with a glut of Series 2. Series 2 is what my stores have right now. So we're going to go through these one by one, but before we do that, I wanted to take a look at the Rarity Chart. Now, the codes for this series, I'll put that in the description. It was a little weird because they're not printed in the same spot every time, and it's in blue or sometimes black, so it's harder to see. If you want to see a little bit more about that, go and watch the opening video if you haven't already. But I actually did not really pay attention to the rarity of this series because it took me so long to find them. So we've got the Fred. I don't know what mark is that Spartan. That's like the Mark 4B, I think. And then we have the pink JFO, which is absolutely awesome. He is a common, first to a common. Viktor the Grunt. He is a common. Wow, there's 5 of Viktor in a box of 32. There's 6 of the green Fred though. Why? That's a lot. The Wasp is the ultra rare, so there's only 2 in a box of 32. Hermes common, 5 out of 32. Marine also common, 4 out of 32. Then the ultra is a rare. There's only 3. And then the AC Chieftain is also a rare. And we have the weird AR, which we'll look at in a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the figures. I figured we'd just go by the way that they were listed on the sheet, and we'll start with the Fred, green Fred. This guy was... When this was first revealed, this series, I thought he was going to be a matte green, kind of similar to Chief, and that made me really excited. And I was kind of disappointed when I saw they were going to be using the metallic green again, because this does have that issue where the green is kind of different shades depending on the part. I'm still kind of disappointed we didn't get a matte green, because that would have been super cool. But to be honest, this actually works out pretty well. I think this does look pretty nice. No print for the knives, which not even Fred in the chopper set got the print, so a blind bag figure definitely wouldn't. He has a Bulldog shotgun in black. That's an awesome piece. I always love getting more of those. His visor is printed pretty well. I'd say on par with that of Fred. I'll bring him in a moment. The visors for these guys have gotten this like glossy sheen to it. I'm not sure what they did differently. Around the back, pretty normal. And yeah, he's pretty simple overall. Stand is kind of this metallic-y gray. All the figures except for the AC Chieftain have that gray stand. None of the different colors that was with Series 1 and 2, maybe? I don't remember if 2 had different color stands, which is a little disappointing to me because I thought that was pretty cool. But let me go ahead and grab Fred, who, if you've seen my review of that set, I was pleasantly surprised with how cool he is. There we are. You know, Fred does have more detail, but they look good side by side. It's Master Chief if he wore Fred's armor. So overall, a good figure. A little simple, but excellent for customizing. I honestly wish I had gotten a second one just to do some paint work on him. Oh, yes. The pink JFO. I love this shade of pink that Mega uses. I believe this is the same as what we saw on the Hell Jumper, and it's just so cool. It's the best shade of pink possible. It's like a deep burning pink. It's just really, really cool. And you'll know that I have said before that I want more Spartans in this color, and Mega has delivered with JFO, and I actually very much like the JFO armor set, so that is even more of a bonus. He comes with a all black sniper rifle, unprinted, excellent piece to get. And then he's got this kind of slate gray for his lower arms and legs, and then print for the chest. Surprisingly, I was shocked to find out that the chest cartridges got printed when the commando in the helmet set didn't even get print for the chest. So that was really cool. I like that a lot. It just adds so much more to this figure and kind of makes him look like he came from a set and not blind bags. Around the back, no print. Visor is printed up pretty well. A little thin on the edges here and here, but not too bad. He does have this weird splotch of silver on the top, though. I don't know where that came from because he does not have silver on him anywhere. So don't know where that came from, but in a crowd of pink JFOs, I'd be able to find mine. Oh, actually, it looks like there's two spots. It's not that bad because it is silver, so it looks like battle damage. It's just quite odd. He's got the default shoulder pads. Yeah, this is a great figure. I absolutely love it. Same color stand. I would wager that this guy is my favorite of this whole series. You know, maybe that'll change as we get through looking at them, but I doubt it. Viktor the Grunt here comes a close second, though, because what an absolute unit this guy is. For a Grunt, like, he's huge. He's got a new harness piece because his official title is Grunt Mule, because the Banished don't care enough about their soldiers to call them by their real names. So they just call him a Grunt Mule. And he's got this big pack on his back for carrying weapons. It's got 3 clips as well as a peg hole in there. He's got a new mold for the helmet, which is great. Is very Banished looking. I'm going to have to sand the head. Well, okay, maybe not. The helmet does very much limit the articulation on the head, though. You're pretty much limited to up and down. Side to side is pretty much non-existent because of those little cheek bits. But, you know, I'll take it because he looks so good. And it's printed on there, and it's printed on the chest. So, like, they put a lot of work into Viktor here. And he comes armed with a plasma pistol. Underneath, he looks like most of the other Grunts. Now, more interesting, well, I shouldn't say more interesting because Viktor himself is quite interesting. But we have the shock rifle, bolt action rifle, whatever it's actually called. Where did I set the other one? Ah, found it. We had already gotten one of these, a mold of this, and it was used multiple times, but now Mega changed it. You spot the difference? It's this little peg bar thing right here. Up here, it's nothing. You have a slot for putting scopes and stuff on, and you still have that here, but it won't go nearly as far forward because there's this part where figures can now hold it from there, I believe. Yeah, you can hold it there. And it's made so you can clip it to Viktor's backpack, whether pointing upward or pointing downward. Sure, I guess. That's cool. But why? Like, Mega could have easily done that from the beginning, and it probably would have saved them some money. I don't know. It's cool, I guess. It's just kind of odd. Great figure, though. It's definitely one you probably want more than one of. Now, normally I would save the ultra rare for last, but for some reason Mega decided to list it as the 4th on the list. So we're going to go ahead and look at it. This is a micro Wasp, and Originally, I was not a big fan of these micro builds. Like, I liked the fact that Mega put them in the blind bags because it meant not having to hunt down a ultra rare figure, and it was kind of one I could pass on. But I'm really liking them now, especially this Wasp. Like, these ones are really good. The little ship builds, like the Forward Unto Dawn and the Spirit of Fire, they were okay, but not thrilling. But these ones are actually really cool. They always come with this stand here. There's a clip, and you could either put the clip on the stand or leave it on the bottom of the vehicle. Pretty normal. Kind of need it for a flying vehicle. And then the Wasp itself is really cool. It's got some printed pieces, which I believe are new. I don't think they've been used anywhere else. And just the shaping is really good. It looks great from all angles. We've got the little guns on the side, the translucent windscreen, a little like booster on the back. This is just really nice, and it's nice and swooshable. Like, you could put this in your pocket. You're sitting, I don't know, waiting for your car to get inspected. You can just pull this out of your pocket and fly it around just because it's that easy to carry with you, and it's just that fun to fly around. I do not have the large version of the Wasp yet to compare it with. Whenever I review that set, I'll definitely put it side by side. But what I do have is the other two micro builds, so let's see these all together. There we go, from series 1, 2, and 3. The Pelican and the... why did the name of that go right out of my head? I'm not going to remember it now. Great, wonderful. The Banished thing. Those are kind of similarly scaled. The Wasp kind of throws a scale out the window and goes with something different, which is understandable because then they'd have to make the Wasp like that big, and that would be weird. So I can appreciate what they've done here, and they still all look nice side by side. So here's to hoping that Infinite Series 4 will have another Banished vehicle, and we kind of get that pattern all the way down, you know, UNSC, Banished, UNSC, Banished, because that is nice and balanced. All of them come with the stands, and they're made so you can change the positions of them. So if you want it to be more dynamic on display, you can, you know, flying up, flying down. You can turn the clip to get it in kind of a dodging side-to-side movement. These are just really, really good. I really appreciate what Mega is doing with these. The rain is starting to come down even harder now, so I'm glad I don't have anything to do outside. Our next figure is the Hermes Spartan, and I really like the Infinite version of Hermes. I hated the Halo 5 one. It was just so ugly with the bulging forehead. It just, no, I didn't like it at all. This new one, though, is great, and I looked at one in the Escape helmet, and then we have this one. This one is the actual full deal, like the full Hermes. In the Escape helmet, we got the Anubis Spartan, which was most of the Hermes. And then we got the other dude, which had the Hermes helmet. So this guy, or I should say girl, because this is a girl, has the full set. And right away, I gotta say the visor is not nearly as well printed. It's kind of thin off on this side, and it's just, it doesn't pop as much. This guy, it's so good. I have not seen a visor this good in a long time. Super crisp on the edges. It's just fantastic. This figure, not quite so much. It's kind of dull, and like I said, it's a little faded. You can see some of the orange through it on this side. So it's a little disappointing. I was hoping for better than that, but it's not terrible. It's not a deal breaker. Unpainted gravity hammer for the weapon, which these are great to get because more unpainted gravity hammers means more to paint. The color combo here, this is kind of like a dreamsicle color combo, and I really like it. The white is a pure white, none of the off-white that we've been seeing with Infinite. It's pure white, and it looks really, really good. The orange is very nice. It's kind of shiny and metallic, but not too much. So that looks really good too. I hope we see this color come back some more. And I would love to see more of that white as well. Visor is blue, obviously. And yes, this is a female figure. This chest plate and back piece are female specific, which is kind of unfortunate because this back piece would be very accurate for Infinite Chief. Instead, Mega decided to just use the one here, the Mark IV one, and cut the spine off. So that's a little sad, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. Now, this figure has a bit of the hand wobble problem, and we'll encounter that issue again in a bit, but I think it's one I can fix. But it's not real encouraging to see that. I think it's twice in 8 bags. That's not very encouraging at all. Next up, we have our Marine, and this is a bit of a weird figure. Number one, it has the normal like Halo 4 and 5 style AR, but with the reach ammo counter on top, which is weird. Like, why didn't they just go with the one that they've been using? This makes no sense at all. It doesn't. It's pretty standard for the rest of the Marine. The bare forearms, which is kind of cool, and then a female torso in gray, normal armor. And yes, before anyone puts in the comments, you are supposed to put this little pad thing on the front, not on the back. Check any of Mega's instructions or pictures and you will find it's on the front. There is a helmet printed up very nicely, same as we've seen multiple other times. And then underneath is the head. And this is the head mold that they're going to be using for Miranda Keys in the anniversary pack. And they decided to kind of already start using it. I think the same head mold comes in the Wasp. It's a very masculine looking face, I will say that much. And on top of that, they did not paint the front of the hair. So the hair kind of transitions to skin before it should. And that looked kind of odd. So, gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of this head. I hope they do it better for Keys and don't do this weird flesh hair thing. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing. I might have to like repaint the hair myself or something. Or maybe I'll get a Marine sniper head and put it on here. That's just kind of weird. Kind of disappointing, and kind of makes the army building potential of this Marine lacking, because then you end up with a bunch of heads with skin hair. And then we have our Elite Ultra, and look at this color. That is a beautiful color. I want to see more of it, Mega. More Elites, more Spartans. I would honestly love to see some Marines with this color. Whoa, come back here. This is really cool. I love this color. This is just so cool. And I don't think Mega's ever used it before. So, yeah, that makes this guy pretty impressive. What also makes him impressive is the fact that he is now using the proper hands for the Elite. Plasma repeater. Nothing new here. But look at that. They're using the Prophet hands, so they now have proper Elite hands, which is something that none of the other Ultras have. And I'm not actually going to bring in any of the Ultras into this video, because I think I'm going to make that a separate video, just comparing all the Ultras we've gotten so far, because they deserve that attention. Print on the top of the head, print for the eyes just in yellow, which shows up better on this blue than I was thinking it would. Also, this blue is showing up as more of a kind of white blue, and it's more of a green blue in person. Now we get to our problem. This hand came with a massive stump of plastic on the end of the hand, and so it kind of molded, it pushed outward, and so the hand kind of moves in ways that it should not now. So I'm going to have to try and fix that as well, which is not a fun job, especially when it's got this much of a problem. So fingers crossed that I can do that and won't have to go to customer service. So that's kind of disappointing, because this is a really, really epic figure. One more thing to note real quick before we move on. This hand actually can hold the plasma repeater straight, whereas the other hands, like there's just normal Halo hands, hold it at kind of a angle like that. So that just makes it even better, using this new hand mold, because he can actually hold his gun straight, and that's awesome. I keep thinking this rain is gonna, lighten up a little bit, and every time I think that, it just keeps coming down harder and harder. So hopefully it doesn't mess up the audio too much. All right, our last figure is the active camo brute Chieftain. And like I said in the opening video, I am usually not a fan of the active camo figures, just because while they look cool, they're really hard to photograph. They're really hard to pretty much do anything with. So they mostly just sit, and they're like just collectible things. And the past two series, we've gotten an AC figure. We got Chief in the first Infinite series, and then we got the Trailblazer in the second. And those were kind of meh figures, and there was a lot of them. But for once, Mega didn't make it a common, and it is the rare, and it is a Chieftain, which makes it even better. So I think this is a great addition to the lineup. It's great. I love it. The fact that we get a clear Chieftain helmet is awesome. Number one, because you can use it for customizing, because you just get a base color of clear. And number two, because it just looks cool. And we get a clear Craig Boy head, and that is kind of hilarious because his face just kind of shines weirdly. So that's really cool. I like the fact that they decided to do this guy. Clear gravity hammer looks awesome. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I did not bring in the normal guy, the non-active camo. The thought of a Chieftain like this going AC and then just popping up out of nowhere and smashing you with his hammer is terrifying. Oops, I'm knocking the other guy over. Look at that. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Well, there you have it. That is Halo Infinite Series 3 blind bags. I gotta say, overall, I think this is a super, super solid series, and I think it surpasses Series 1 completely, and at least ties with Series 2 in terms of how the figure lineup is. I'm torn between saying it's above Series 2 or not, because it's just hard to say. But we get the pink JFO, which still is my favorite of this whole wave. That's just such a nice color combination. The printed chest plate, that is such a huge bonus. So he is obviously number one for me. And then we got Viktor the Grunt, and then the blue Elite, the Wasp. It's just all really good. Honestly, I'd say the only dud figure is the Marine. And that feels weird to say because usually Marines are the best because you can army build them. But this is not a Marine you'd want to army build. The head is odd. It's just not good. Out of all of them, it's the worst. Everyone else is great though. Not necessarily army building material. Obviously, you probably would want to army build Viktor. And you might want to at least get a squad of the blue elites. But the Spartans and stuff, you probably don't want too many of. Maybe an extra green Fred for customs. So overall, I definitely recommend this. But they have been really spotty in their release. Like I said, I had to buy these off Mercari for $5 per pack. And that feels steep, especially because you might get weird quality control issues and then have to send it to Mega, and they might not even give you the same figure in the blind bag or even the same blind bag series. So $5 feels a bit steep. Still, I don't know, especially that pink JFO feels almost Heroes level. So JFO, Viktor, and the Elite all definitely feel like they could be worth $5 pretty easily. The rest of them, $3 or $4. So depending on how much you want the figures, I would definitely say go and look them up online. Not eBay. Do not go to eBay. They are charging $17 for one figure. That is ridiculous. That is not worth it. Mercari has some decent prices. Or just check your local stores and maybe you'll get lucky where I did not and find some of these instead of Series 1 or Series 2. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.